Hey guys, it's Shawn. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about acquiring another business in 2025. This is something that is going to be an area of opportunity for many people to jump into. You potentially could go out and acquire another business, grow your business, and I think this may be a very good year for it. So we'll be talking about very high level general ideas about adding that acquisition to your company. We'll talk a little bit about the logistics from it from a legal standpoint. But first, I kind of want to set it up by saying why 2025 may be a great year to acquire another business. One big thing at play is demographics, right? We've got kind of what they say, the graying of America, people getting older and moving out of businesses, right? So there are a lot of businesses owned by baby boomers and that generation beyond, and they are often looking to get out, right? So there's a lot of opportunity for younger people to come in and become operators of these businesses because of those demographics. And one thing that has changed a lot here in society in the last 10 to 20 years, a lot of times people's children do not want those businesses, right? So you can step into that business potentially and take it over. So it is a good year potentially for acquisition from that standpoint. It's also a good year from acquisition from a change standpoint. We expect a lot of change in 2025 as I look at the macro environment. Donald Trump coming back into office here in the U.S. and his new policy rollout, which seemed to be very extensive, a lot of different areas covered. That is going to mean change. And what that means for the people that pay attention is the opportunity to capitalize on that change. But there's going to be a percentage of people who do not want to deal with that change, right? So some business owners, some leaders, some people want out. And so if people want out, that's going to create opportunities to come in. So some business owners not only are going to be going out because of demographics, they're going to be going out because of change. Maybe they don't want to deal with the rollout of AI. They don't want to deal with international trade disruptions from change policies through President Trump. That is going to lead to opportunities for acquirers to potentially come in and get things. It's going to lead to some challenges, which we'll get to in a minute as well. Also, the possibility of soft markets exist. With all this shifting going on, there's a very real chance that these markets are going to shift and soften, and there's not going to be as many buyers because people are maxed out on their debt because the national debt is so high. Some of this budget cutting may lead to job cuts, may lead to less spending in the economy. There could be potential factors that lead to a softening of the U.S. and now world economy because everything's so interlinked. So that softening may also create opportunities for acquisition. Some businesses may struggle. Some people, again, may want out rather than deal with a downturn or recession or disruption in their businesses. But there will be challenges. And let's talk about some of the challenges. One big challenge I expect is financing. Banks are already tightening up in some areas. I expect that banks will continue to tighten. That means it's going to be harder to get that money for these businesses that you want to acquire. Right? It may not be possible to do this through loans. You may have to do this through equity or through owner financing. You may need to get that owner to extend you a note and pay them back if the banks continue to tighten up on their lending as has already been reported. Another thing is businesses are going to be hard to value. If you look at most valuation methodologies, valuation connects back to sales, right? You have to be selling stuff in order to value the business, right? The sales, the gross profit, these types of multiples go into calculating what the value of the business is. Well, if sales are dropping or are disrupted, it's going to be hard to use historical financials to set future values. That's going to create another challenge in negotiation. The expectation between buyer and seller as far as what the business is worth may be challenged by the fact that maybe sales are disrupted and there's not the same stream of sales, so everybody has to go back and look at things. Due diligence is going to be key. Were things done correctly? Have you looked at everything related to this business? Does this business have hidden problems? 2025 may be a year of more hidden problems than historic because of the very things we've talked about. Is a person trying to get out because they know a major customer is going to shut down? Are they getting out because they have a massive supply disruption? It's going to be key to ask all the questions to link back to those challenges and opportunities we talked about earlier in the video and make sure you understand exactly what you're getting into. Because in general, as a buyer, you're taking the risk that the business doesn't work out. Structuring is going to be a challenge, right? How do you set this deal up, especially if there is tight financing? The negotiation of that owner financing can be very tricky. And you're also going to want key terms in your M&A documents. Ultimately, many businesses are acquired using either an asset purchase agreement or a stock purchase agreement. Both of them generally contemplate a risk allocation between the buyer and the seller. So if you're on the acquirer side, you need to think about, what does that look like? One big thing I expect a lot of negotiation on in 2025 is the earnout. These are provisions whereby the outgoing former owner of the business is paid additional sums if the business makes certain performance targets after the closing of the sale. This is very good from a buyer standpoint because it helps mitigate the risk. Of course, from the seller standpoint, you're taking some of your compensation and making it contingent, so it's not as attractive to the seller. But that negotiation of that earnout is going to be key, and I expect many buyers are going to want to increase the size of the earnout so that they can make sure they are making as much money as possible. Plus, if they're handed a problem or there's a hidden issue with the company, they have some of the compensation they can pull back. Indemnification and risk allocation is also going to be important. This is always a key part of an M&A. Who's taking the risk? What if the company has hidden problems? What if there's unpaid taxes? What if some of the assets are not valued? What if some of the inventory is stale? What if some of the customers leave? Right? There's always that type of thing involved in these deals, but the risk of having an indemnification claim, of having to go back to the other party because something is wrong, is greatly enhanced in this year. So that is something you need to look for as well. So a lot of factors coming together. I think 2025 may be a great year for somebody in an acquisition cycle. The market positioning may make it great to go out and acquire other businesses. But you got to be smart about this. Make sure you understand what's going on and get good professional advice. Of course, everything I've said here today has been general in terms, just helping you understand the market. You need to get independent professional advice, especially if you're acquiring businesses. Get a good lawyer that is licensed in your jurisdiction to help you. All right, thanks for tuning in today, folks. Look forward to seeing your comments and questions. If you have topics for future videos, go ahead and drop them below. Don't put anything confidential in the comments, however, and I'll see you for another video soon. Consider subscribing and checking out our library of past videos.